Welcome to this special podcast, Food for Thought. Why is this special? Because this topic is very close to my heart. So, what is this all about? This is about an interesting article that I have come across in the medium.com website. So, let's get into the article. A linear thinker, a design thinker, and a systems thinker walk into a bar. So, what happens then? So, they talk about the house of the future. The linear thinker draws a floor plan. He details the bedrooms, kitchen, bathroom, lounge, etc. He makes sure that each room has adequate light, heating, the correct number of plugs, etc. etc. Right? So, now the design thinker takes a look at the floor plan and lists out what the tenants of the future will want. He has already interviewed and observed them in their daily life. He notes the way they live and their desire to be as environmentally friendly as possible. That's what the design thinker, look into these aspects. Now, further, he then designs a house that runs on solar energy with materials that optimize energy use. He also designs some pretty clever spaces to fit with the family's way of life. Now, coming to the systems thinker, the systems thinker points out that the house of the future will be part of a smart city where outdoor living prevails and people only go home to sleep. He also points out that the materials used by the designer do not last forever. They are very costly and difficult to recycle once they reach end of life. They also include nanomaterials whose impact on human health has not been tested. So they could actually cause more harm than good in the long run. He also sketches out how the energy would flow among the different buildings and spaces in the city and highlights the best spots for the energy hubs. So now, which vision would you invest in? It's a self-introspection question, right? Self-reflection question. What type of thought process that you possess? What type of a thinker that you are? So the author says, my view is that you would need balance out all three. And 100% I agree with the author's view. Let's see how it justifies, right? If you only bet on the linear thinker, you might get bogged down in the minute details of a house and miss the big picture. Absolutely. If you only rely on the design thinker, you might end up creating beautiful, elegant solutions to the wrong problem or create solutions that perpetuate the problem in the long term. Right? If you only bet on the systems thinker, you may get paralyzed by all the possibilities and all the considerations and end up doing nothing at all. So, I have been a great admirer and a great follower of systems thinker. And yes, the lesson here or the moral here is it is very important that we need all types of thinkers. And that's the beauty of the nature. And that's the beauty of diversity, right, in the nature. So you need all three to work together. That's the key word. That's the watchword, right? That's the keyword. We need all types of thinkers and making sure that they are working together. That's where the beauty of collective wisdom happens. The systems thinker will identify the key problems and leverage points that will help you achieve an impact while minimizing unintended negative consequences. The design thinker can then work on creating tailored solutions, while the linear thinker can help focus on the minute details of the implementation. Linear thinking, design thinking, systems thinking, all these three types of thinking and even all types of other thought process, school of thoughts is also very important to consider. I like this paragraph. As a society, we tend to focus quite heavily on linear thinking. Absolutely. Day to day basis, okay, let me read the paragraph first and then I can give my explanation. So, as a society, we tend to focus quite heavily on linear thinking. We are taught to do so at school. Yes, and that's universally true. And rewarded throughout our professional lives for our ability to break down a problem or a task into smaller, more manageable parts. While this has served us well, many scientific discoveries are the result of linear thinking. It is becoming increasingly harder in the complex modern world, the VUCA world. I don't know, I see this paragraph as a mirror reflection. I really like this so much, where I can even take a printout and put something like a wallpaper. This is so true, and I'm sure there are many, majority of the people agree with this paragraph. We always tend to think in a linear fashion, right? Y is equal to f of x and only one x, right? Y is equal to f of x1. We don't even spend time thinking about x2, x3, x4, right? So cause and effect relationship, the thought process of establishing a cause and effect, the thought process of identifying what is a cause and what is an effect, that is clearly eroding. That there is a disruption happening in this thought process itself. The cause and effect itself is being disrupted heavily because humans are becoming impatient. Why? Because humans are becoming impatient. Why? Because the technology is gaining utmost acceleration, the high speed availability, and that's making us to rush in every aspect of life. That's my opinion. There are many factors to it, and while technology is really an invaluable, right, an invaluable element part of life, unfortunately many people are unable to utilize the positive side of technology. So recently I have observed many day-to-day real life problems. You can also pick n number of examples, right? The moment that we get out of our bed, you can see plenty of examples in society where the siloed problems, the problems occurring in silos, and the solutions are also being taken place in silo, right? So today's solutions are becoming tomorrow's problems. Think about it. We assume that it's a solution for today's problem, but tomorrow somehow that itself becomes a problem. So let's continue reading this article. If you look around you, you will see many examples. That's what I'm saying, right? So see many examples of complex problems that persist despite efforts to solve them. I love this paragraph. Increasing rates of chronic diseases like cancer and cardiovascular disease, all types of diseases, right? And political conflicts and wars that go on for years or even decades. See, what is interesting, I mean, I am unable to resist myself, not, wanting to complete it, and I feel that the kind of urge to provide my explanation. Well, let me complete this article first. So you will see many examples of solutions that initially work but later create further problems. Multi-resistant bacteria arising from use of antibiotics or well-meaning aid schemes leading to increased poverty in the countries that receive them. If you are working to tackle such complex problems, you will be more likely to succeed if you invite your three thinkers. Absolutely. And not the linear thinker alone, meaning not the linear thinker on their own, right? I am a systems thinking consultant, so this is about the author. This is the email ID of the author. You can see the author, details, a brief description about the author. So, millions of thanks to this author. I really appreciate the fantastic view, the thought process that this article delivers. This is very, simple, elegant, yet profound. I strongly recommend this article to all the thinkers, all my subscribers in this channel. Please feel free to share this, video, and encourage, especially the students, the thinkers, the emerging, analysts. I am sure they will. It's a very profound article, right? Well, let me talk about a few, points I wanted to convey as a result of this article, and also as a result of my experience in systems thinking so far. So yes, today's solutions are becoming tomorrow's problems, and there is a way to solve it, and there is no one solution that fits all. We cannot rely on only particular way of thought process. We definitely need multiple, like a Swiss army knife. We need to be familiar with all types of techniques, and we should know what technique is important to solve what type of problem. Most of the times, I think, sometimes I feel like those who are in power, right, be it in any small institutions or big institutions, or any institutions, I think they need more time to think, right? The society should allow them to think. Unfortunately, they are surrounded with people loaded with a lot of agenda, the schedule of programs. There is no enough time given for these leaders to think. So taking time to think is very healthy to this world, and promoting peace can happen ultimately and automatically, right? So it's no more about the wealth. It's all about health. Health is the real wealth, and it's not about being rich or becoming wealthy. It's not about health and poverty. It's all about, sorry, it's not about wealth and poverty. It's not about rich and poor. It's all about being healthy versus unhealthy. So it doesn't mean that we have to rely on gadgets, we have to rely on any of the medications. That does not define what is true health is all about. True health is independent of all these gadgets or medicines or anything. Free from gadgets, free from medicines. The food that you are taking, that itself becomes a healing mechanism. The nature itself is the primary and the only one and only source of healing that the mankind is having. So let's protect nature so that it knows how to protect us, right? So there is so much to talk about it. There are many thoughts. It just the rapid thoughts it comes to my mind, but I wanted to make this video limit to reasonable duration. So I appreciate and thank you so much for your time in listening to this and reading along with me. Thank you. And finally, once again, I appreciate the author for this wonderful content. Thank you so much.